Alright everyone, it's time for Vermont Issues episode 2 of the illegal DMV facial recognition sort of bullcrap that's gone on in this state. They've tried to boil it down to a racial issue because they know that if they do that, the state government can save face on an illegal program that was okayed and allowed to continue. They're hoping that you won't notice the fact that it's a violation of the Constitution. They're hoping that you'll boil it down to, oh, there are some racists in the DMV, and so it profiled like black people in the state and stuff like that. They're hoping you won't notice that it discriminates against anyone it's applied to. What happened was the DMV was illegally, and the state's attorney general has determined this, as though there was any question about it, under the rules applied to the DMV's use of this software in the first place. They already temporarily stopped it, I think, like 2 months ago. I already reported on this. What happened is they were using this facial recognition software to prevent duplicate licenses. Like, they're afraid, well, if someone gets like 3-4 licenses and they get like suspended, like they're drunk driving, they have like a backup copy or something, so they just drive around with that, or they use it for some sort of fraud or something along those lines. But what ended up happening actually is it never stopped any fraudulent, like, signing up for an extra ID. Like, who does that anyway? What would the ultimate benefit to them be? They still have to wait in line at the DMV. I say if you're willing to wait in line at the DMV, just give them a duplicate license, because they have some severe fortitude there. They've got a lot of patience. They're probably not a criminal. You know, criminals, sometimes they lack that patience. So that's why they want their fix or something like that. If they're willing to wait in line for that long, sorry to use the term, but God bless them, essentially. But it was actually being used by groups outside of the state of Vermont to obtain personal information on Vermonters without their knowledge or consent and without a warrant. In most cases, it was this facial recognition shit was shared with federal agencies and out-of-state agencies, without any warrant actually being issued. Like, oh, we need the facial recognition sort of derived info on these people here. Oh, do you have a warrant? No, we don't have a warrant. We don't even suspect them of anything. We just want the info. Okay, yeah, that's fine. We'll cooperate. We won't even tell anybody in any other agency. Like, that's a good idea. And then they get found out about doing this. And even Phil Scott, who's a dim man, who doesn't even understand, like, Vermont should be on the forefront of ending the drug war, and we have bigger things to... We got an opiate crisis. We need to stop focusing on marijuana so much. Now, even he says, well, this is abominable, and I'm temporarily halting this. Let's let the legal system weigh in. And then, lo and behold, they say, yeah, it is illegal. They need to stop doing this. They shouldn't even use facial recognition software. It's a cure for a non-existent problem. Like the 2 or 3 individuals in any given year who are going to try to screw the licensing system, does that really justify the expenditure even in a fiscal sense? I argue that it doesn't. I think it's a dumb program anyway. I don't think any state should bother doing this. Let alone, we're a rural state. We've got 620,000 people in the state. We're rural. We're a farming state. We're that stretch of mountains and farms between New York City and Montreal, or between Albany and Boston, essentially. That's what we are to most people in this country. We don't have the kind of systemic crime problems necessary to justify such a program. It's not justifiable. It's not fiscally sound. It's a waste of money. It's obviously been used for illegal, dubious crap already. And those people will probably never be given a true legal recourse to the DMV anyway, because it's a government program. So they won't be able to sue. They'll just classify everything. Oh yeah, the groups that wanted this info wanted it classified right away, so you can't do anything about it. Just get used to the violation of the Fourth Amendment because the DMV decided to bend over backwards and take it up the ass from Uncle Sam or one of his bureaus or something. That's what they'll give. They'll give an excuse to people. We shouldn't have these kind of programs. We don't need them. It's like with the Real ID bullcrap. Vermont wisely institutes a 2-license program so you can get just the driver's privilege card. It's like, no, I don't need like a microchipped, biometric bullcrap ID. It's not necessary. What's the point? I'm just driving around in Vermont. So they say, well, we'll use a 2-tier system. And lo and behold, we made the right decision. There were people that called us out for that years ago, when we decided to respect people's right to privacy. and say, well, the government's program ultimately is in violation of the Constitution. We wisely decided to hold off and issue just the driver's privilege cards. And they still haven't implemented the full Real ID Act. They still haven't. You can still fly with the driver's privilege card. So people who didn't want to pay more, I guess they got a good deal out of it. They just paid their normal fee. We get a lot of problems in this state, and most of those problems are with the state government. The state government or too much federal overreach into our state. Those are the problems we have. We don't have a problem with systemic ID fraud. We just don't. It just doesn't happen here. We have a problem with opiate addiction. Nobody wants to talk about that. Phil Scott doesn't want to. He wants to ramble about kids using marijuana. Like they don't already, Phil. Like they don't already smoke and toke. You probably do too, and you pretend to be a moralist about these issues. Phil Scott inherits the family business, just sells it, makes millions of dollars. He wants to pretend he knows how the average Vermonter lives. They do a fluff piece the other day. Oh, your governor is also a stock car racer. Wonderful. That really gives me a good reason to trust in his leadership. You know, all kidding aside, with all the other bullcrap he's been up to, with all the stupid things he's already done and said in a few short months, he races stock cars, so let me overlook all of those things. It's just like, I'll overlook the fact that the DMV is one of the most hated groups in the country. Like the IRS is the only group in competition with the DMV for being hated. I'll overlook that and the violation of people's constitutional rights, and I'll overlook the fiscally unsound policy with having a facial recognition database in the first place. I'll just boil it down to some racist, some rotten apples, no rotten barrel, just a couple of racists within the DMV who decided to screw with people. Yeah, I'll do exactly what the state government wishes that I would do. I don't think so. I think it's further than that. And the state's attorney general was right, of course, to call this illegal. We don't need this kind of problem in the state. Let's deal with our real problems, like, we got fewer and fewer farms because of constant taxation and bureaucracy and all that bullcrap. Lots of people are popping pills in our state. That's become a problem. It's starting to incline the property crime rate all across the board, especially here in Rutland. Yeah, we get some problems here. It's like, and I'll be talking about this tomorrow, I think, in the next episode. The Fed's granting us like $250,000 to fight the opiate epidemic. Yeah, it's a drop in the barrel of what we need. It's not going to help. It'll get like 2 or 3 people clean. One of them will relapse anyway. What a wonderful gift from the federal government. Now, why don't you just take the bureaucracy away and shrink the tax rate, and we'd have more money to dedicate to such programs? Since it's a bigger problem than all these other problems. We can't even keep up our roads in most of the parts of this state. Like the highways that we have, yeah, they're decent. They're, more or less flat, not too many potholes. Some frost heaves part of the year. That's okay. As far as you go around here in Rutland, you drive on the main roads, they're fine. In fact, one of them just got retard in the last week. You go on any of the side roads, what do you see? The curbs are dilapidated. The drainage systems conk out constantly. The potholes are more prevalent in parts of the road that don't have potholes in them, honestly. It's like, just replace them with dirt roads. Be easier to maintain. Then just get a grader to go along them every, month or so. Just replace them with dirt roads. Let's show the world what Vegas is really about. Yeah, we're the place that Vermont forgot. We're the place that the fucking country forgot. That'd be wonderful. Instead of being Rut Vegas, it can look more rustic. And we'd start putting up cottages and little wooden signs saying, you can buy your lawn gnomes here. Handmade in Vermont, only $200 for out-of-staters. And they pay it, too. Yeah, we planted a bunch of maple trees in the city park. We figured it was easier to maintain. We'd make a little money off of it. Shrink people's taxes by 0.1% or something. Vermont's problems has quite a few. But worrying about people having a duplicate driver's license, is that really on anyone's priority list? And then it gets misused by the DMV. What's the point of having the program in the first place? So this is why you can't trust bureaucrats. They're always going to look for a way to profit and screw you. They look for ways to justify their own salaries. That's why they implemented the program in the first place. We need this. Vermont has a problem with license fraud. Yeah, two or three instances. Wow. That justifies this kind of program being implemented. How much did it cost to implement in the first place? I bet it's a lot more than you made up for in stopping duplications. I bet it's a lot more. We could have spent that money on fighting the heroin epidemic or something like that. I don't know, we could have planted some trees or something. We could have done something worthy with it. But instead we've got eggheads in Montpelier. They don't know how to handle money. Because they don't have to handle their own, they're using other people's money. It's a big problem of all governments. Oh yeah, we get as many funds as we need. We'll just raise taxes. We'll put a tax on this good. We'll put a tax on that service. We'll raise the property tax a little bit more. You know, the state income tax is already historically high. We'll just raise it a little bit further. We'll pull in Illinois so more of the young people move out of the state when they're done with college. We give people a really good education. What do? They leave the state because there's no jobs here. Yay, I got my master's degree. Okay, I'm off to Texas. Going to the Dakotas. I'm going to work on an oil rig. Don't worry, I'll be back when I'm 55 and retire early, and I'll build my home up in the mountains here because I'll have millions of dollars. Because I'll be making bank, and the cost of living will be lower, and everything will cost less under the sun, so I can make money. Otherwise, who stays in the state? People who are going to go into nursing, because there are a lot of old native Vermonters. People who are going to teach the next generation of people who will leave the state. And state workers, government workers. And then some blue-collar jobs. Everyone else is impoverished. And most of them can't even afford to move out of the state. I bet a lot of them would if they could. They're like, oh, why am I staying here? I pay the state a shit ton of money for the benefit of 6 months of good weather out of the year to get screwed in old age because the state will cut all those programs when our demographic crisis hits. I'm not going to get anything from the state. They'll probably have a pension fallout like Chicago or Detroit or any other places had. You watch, that'll be leering up in the next 10, 20 years too. It's going to destroy this state. It's not going to be the Vermont that we know and love because of our government's socialist policies, because of the policies of idiots like Bernie Sanders. Someone has to say it. Some Vermonter with a platform has to come out and say it's dumb and that the rest of the country shouldn't adopt it because it doesn't work. It looks like it's working for a while. The demographic crisis hits, it screws you. It's already happened in other parts of the country. Then we've got the DMV frittering away money on something it just misuses anyway. Why are we even giving them any money? Should just say, oh, we're going to become a license-free driving state. Yeah, you can drive, just don't do it intoxicated. We'll double the penalty for it. Why don't we do that and save a lot of money? You can drive on the roads. Yeah, except for this one little stretch of federal highway that we have. That requires the properly issued ID. Every other road, it's controlled by the state or some town. Who cares? Who really cares? Issue proper IDs for anyone driving out of state and let people driving just around the state go without a license altogether. Who cares? I wouldn't even care. It's not like the roads aren't dangerous already because of the potholes or because you hit a deer or something like that. They're not properly made. Like the road crews, they do their best. They're being told, yeah, we'll increase your budget, but we're not going to hire any. You will up your salary. You're still going to have to do the same work. There's like 10 dudes for the whole county that have to repair all the roads or some inordinate amount like that. Then they pour salt on the roads when there are better methods now available, technologically speaking. Oh, we'll salt everything. We'll destroy the roads even faster. That barely works too. Then the salter comes through 2 hours late. You're late for work because there was a foot of snow in your way and you didn't have a pickup with a plow on front of it or something like that. Four-wheel drive. We took our snowmobile to work, something like that. Yeah, that's the way for the out-of-staters that'll watch this video, which is most of you. That's sort of the way Vermont is. It's a little topsy-turvy. It's a great state in many ways, but taxes aren't one of them. The state government being sane is not one of them. And apparently the bureaus that operate in the state being trustworthy is definitely not one of them. Yeah, and everyone's addicted to opiates. You walk around Rutland for an hour, you'll see 2 or 3 people that are obviously strung out. Yeah, they look like they just got done with a late-nighter. That's about all. Peace out.